Welcome back to our channel where we share updates and untold stories about Catherine, Princess of Wales, and her royal family. Today we bring you some significant news. Princess Anne has announced her retirement and appointed Catherine as her royal successor. An insider said that Princess Anne has declared she is retiring and has chosen Princess Catherine to carry on her work. Most of the royal family, including Camilla, are shocked by her decision. She wants to hurt Princess Catherine and her family's reputation in the monarchy. This video will look at why Princess Anne made her decision and how Princess Catherine's growing popularity might make Camilla less powerful in the royal family. A historic announcement at Buckingham Palace. Chandeliers lit up the lavish dining hall of Buckingham Palace as diplomats, dignitaries, and members of the British nobility gathered for a state dinner. Others were buzzing with excitement, and the sound of clinking glasses and quiet talks filled the air as others quietly speculated about how important the night would be. When Princess Anne, the Princess Royal, started to speak, the audience became silent. She wore a beautiful blue dress that showed off her trademark understated elegance. She stood with the calmness of a woman who has been faithful to the monarchy for decades. As she talked to the people who had come to see her, her voice was strong and commanding. The proclamation was more of a change than a celebration or commemoration. Anne declared her decision to leave public life with calm dignity. This news spread across the royal family and beyond. For many years, she was the most important person in the kingdom because of her strong work ethic and commitment to duty. She became a key part of the organization by going to many events, from opening hospitals to doing charity work. But suddenly she was pulling back, signaling the end of an era. The seriousness of what she said filled the room as people began to realize that she was departing. But it was her next statement that changed the course of the monarchy in a big way. Anne recognized Catherine, the Princess of Wales, who was close, and said that her legacy will go on via a new generation. She praised Catherine's strength, grace, and unwavering commitment to her duties, saying that she was the rightful successor to the responsibilities she was giving up. The ovation filled the room, but underneath the polite grins and nods, it was clear how serious the situation was. This was more than just a change of duties. It was a change in the monarchy's power. As dinner went on, the effects of Anne's decision began to be felt across the royal family. Her retirement was a turning point that would change how people saw the monarchy and change its future. Catherine was at the heart of it all, suddenly thrust into a role that would test her strength and change the way people saw her in history. A key moment in the history of monarchies. Princess Anne's speech was both serious and moderate. As she spoke to the gathered dignitaries, diplomats, and royal family members, her words showed years of service. "I have dedicated my life to serving this institution," she remarked, her voice steady but full of emotion. "However, the time has come for me to step down and let the next generation take over." The gathering, which was already quiet with anticipation, appeared to halt as she spoke. There was no bitterness or hesitancy in her voice. She just accepted that her chapter was over. Then came the moment that would define the night. Anne spoke with purpose, turning slightly toward Catherine, who was seated a short distance away. "The Princess of Wales has been strong, graceful, and dedicated to her duties. I am sure she will continue this work with the same zeal." The words hung in the air, and their meaning became clear as the understanding grew. The speech was not just an acknowledgement of Catherine's achievements, but also an official confirmation of her power to shape the future of the monarchy. The applause that followed was immediate and loud, but underneath the polite applauding and nodding heads, a deep understanding was starting to form. This was not only the end of a royal career, it was the start of a new one. Anne's speech was typical of her, simple, direct, and extremely personal. There were no big phrases or broad statements in the letter. Instead, it was a simple, honest expression that showed how much trust she had in Catherine. People who knew her well knew how important these kinds of things were. Anne didn't give fake compliments. She always said what she really thought when she meant it. In this case, she had no doubt about her faith in Catherine. For years, the two women had built a relationship based on shared responsibilities and mutual respect. Anne constantly gave Catherine advice and support, particularly throughout the worst parts of her cancer treatment. At this important moment, she was giving her the keys to the future. The speech had an immediate impact. It was a period of both honor and great responsibility for Catherine. She had spent the last year getting her strength back and slowly getting back into public life after a long battle with illness. People were now asking her to take on a job that would push her in ways she had never experienced before. It was a turning point for the monarchy. It meant that the following age would not be characterized by historical figures, but by those who were ready to lead with a new point of view. Princess Anne, a legacy of dedication. For more than 50 years, Princess Anne has been responsible, persistent, and devoted to the monarchy. People often think of her as the hardest working royal. She has done hundreds of formal events, from opening hospitals to raising money for charities, and she always shows a level of dedication that sets her apart from other royals. Even at 74, she is still a strong presence. Her practical attitude and plain nature make her one of the more accessible members of the royal family. Unlike some of her cousins who have embraced the glamour of royal life, Anne has always put service above show. She frequently wore a torn coat or a dress that had been recycled, which showed how dedicated she was to being humble and efficient. Queen Elizabeth II gave Anne a strong work ethic, which has been a big part of her career. From a young age, Anne felt a sense of obligation that was above her years. She was the only daughter in a patriarchal system, which helped her define herself in a way that was both independent and deeply rooted in tradition. Her Olympic equestrian career, which is rare for royalty, showed her determination and willpower. It proved that she was not just a figurehead, she was a woman of action. Over the years, she became a trusted friend to her brother, King Charles. She provided him with advice and support during all of the monarchy's challenges, but she had a lot of personal problems along the way. People knew about her divorce from Captain Mark Phillips in 1992, but instead of stepping back from the public eye, she took on more responsibilities to show that personal problems would not define her. She got a black eye in a horse-related accident in June 2024, which forced her to temporarily cancel her plans. She came back with the same drive that had defined her for decades, showing once again that she could be calm in the face of difficulty. Her strength came from being able to not only endure pain, but also change and grow. She supported several causes, such as protecting the environment and helping children, and was a patron of groups including Save the Children and the Royal Agricultural Society. People loved and respected her because of her sharp mind and strong will. She was also a very important person since she could talk to people from all walks of life. She announced her retirement on June 18, 2025, and it was not simply a personal decision, but also a huge change for the monarchy. She would leave a gap that couldn't be filled, but by naming Catherine as her successor, she was sending a message about trust, legacy, and the future of the institution she had worked so hard for. Catherine's Odyssey, change, and strength. Catherine, the Princess of Wales, has always been brave and graceful, but her battle with sickness has changed how people view her in ways that no one expected. She was diagnosed in March 2024 and had to go through a long and difficult treatment regimen that forced her to leave public life. This decision had a big impact on the royal family and the world. The announcement in September 2024 that her treatment was over brought comfort throughout the globe, but her confirmation in January 2025 that she was in remission was a clear turning point. It wasn't just about getting her job back when she went back to public service. It was also about redefining it. Royal sources say that while Catherine was recovering, she thought a lot about her mission, which made her more determined to make a big difference. She planned and intended to come back into public life. During Trooping the Color in June 2025, she made a big comeback. Her presence was a powerful signal of resilience that deeply affected the crowd. At the Order of the Garter ceremony, she showed that her health problems hadn't weakened her commitment to serve. Her choice to skip Royal Ascot on June 18, 2025, made it quite clear how her view on royal life had changed. At first, many were worried about her choice to put her health ahead of a formal engagement, but in the end, everyone respected her for it. Catherine has built better relationships with the public by being open about her problems, unlike earlier royal generations who may have hidden them. This shift in tactics shows that her status is changing in a bigger way. She is not only keeping her promises anymore, she is changing what it means to be a modern queen. Her battle with disease has given her a different perspective that lets her connect with others on a very deep level. Royal insiders say she is determined to utilize her position to support important causes such as mental health and cancer awareness. Her return means not only the reinstatement of her place in the monarchy, but also the taking on of leadership with a renewed sense of purpose, reflecting her growth and the changing needs of the institution she symbolizes. A time of change and trust. The feast was more than just a ceremonial gathering. It was a very important event for the kingdom. When Princess Anne spoke, her words echoed across the crowd, making everyone feel respected and excited. For Catherine, who was just a few feet away, the experience was both humbling and overwhelming. As she took in Anne's words of encouragement, her eyes sparkled. This was a public confirmation of the trust they had built over years of quiet mentoring. King Charles sat at the head of the table and bowed with quiet pride. His face showed both sadness at his sister's departure and confidence in the future she was leaving to Catherine. Everyone there knew how important the event was. Not only was this a retirement announcement, but it was also a symbolic transfer of power that would be studied and remembered throughout royal history. A visitor later described it as witnessing a relay runner pass the baton, a smooth but powerful action that marked the end of one era and the start of another. Anne was known for her unwavering dedication, and she wasn't leaving because she had to. She was leaving on purpose as part of a plan to protect the monarchy's long-term dominance. She found a successor in Catherine who shared her qualities of resilience, commitment, and a strong sense of purpose. For months, people have been getting ready for the change. Anne and Catherine met in secret at Gatcombe Park, Anne's home in Gloucestershire, to talk about what Catherine would do. The talks were not just useful, they were also extremely personal. They spoke about the emotional toll of being a royal, the challenges of balancing duty with family, and the necessity to stay grounded in the face of constant public scrutiny. Catherine depended on Anne's wisdom and strength to help her deal with the complexities of her life after cancer. Anne had a lot of experience and was able to give Catherine strength. Anne recognized a lot of herself in Catherine when she was young, driven, determined, and not afraid to make her own way in a world where royal rules limited her. It was clear that they were close in both their private chats and the public encounters before the feast. During the Order of the Garter ceremony on June 16, 2025, the two women spoke deeply with each other, and their body language showed that they were comfortable and respected each other. Royal insiders have seen that Anne's advice is starting to change Catherine's attitude toward her new tasks. This shows that this transfer is more than just a responsibility. It includes heritage trust and the quiet strength that comes with being a true leader. Catherine's new job, carrying on a legacy with a modern twist. Catherine, the Princess of Wales, takes up one of the hardest jobs in the monarchy when Princess Anne retires. Anne had a lot of connections, more than 300, including the Royal Agricultural Society and Save the Children. Each of them showed how much she cared about helping others. Catherine's job is to take these responsibilities and change them to fit her vision while still honoring the legacy she is inheriting. Anne was typically straight and efficient, coming, delivering, and departing with perfect timing. Catherine, on the other hand, had a warmth and emotional depth that set her apart. Not only is she holding a position, but she is also changing what it means to have a royal obligation in the 21st century. The Royal Highland Show in Edinburgh will be her first big job as Anne's new ambassador. This is a fitting choice since Anne has always had ties to the Royal Highland Agricultural Society. Anne went to this event every year to recognize rural life and agricultural accomplishment. Catherine's involvement shows that she is committed to continuing that work. Anne was known for being efficient and straightforward, but Catherine is expected to take a more personal approach at the event, talking to farmers, addressing their concerns, and stressing the importance of sustainable agriculture, which is a cause that King Charles supports as an environmentalist. For a smooth transfer, she will need to be able to combine Anne's practical attitude with her own friendly warmth. Catherine's effect will spread beyond farming to encompass the other charitable causes that Anne supports. She already supports important causes like Action for Children and the Royal Foundation. In her new job, she will have more responsibilities in disability advocacy and rural healthcare. The Riding for the Disabled Association is something Anne cares about, and she will be involved in her first project with them. Catherine, who loves horses, wants to focus on the therapeutic benefits of the organization and connect them to her mental health initiatives. This way of working, combining Anne's legacy with her own interests, will be a big part of her work. Catherine is different from everyone else because she can connect with people in a more personal way. Anne was typically considered a figure of calm strength, but Catherine's emotional openness has been felt through the ages. Her battle with sickness has given her a unique perspective on the strength and weakness allowing her to connect with people in a way that few royals have been able to do. During a recent trip to a children's hospice, she spent extra time with families listening to their stories, with a genuineness that appeared real rather than fake. Royal aides have observed her determination to make her presence known, not just via big gestures, but also through real personal connections. People have already noticed this shift in tone. At a garden party in May 2025, Catherine was at ease with visitors of all kinds, from farmers to charity workers. This was akin to Anne's work ethic, but with a softer, more approachable personality. People praised her on social media, with one person saying, "Catherine has Anne's determination, but she also has a warmth that draws you in." Her fight with sickness has made this link even stronger, making her more approachable than most royals. She is more than just a figurehead. She is a woman who has faced death and come out stronger, a story that goes well beyond the royal walls. A changing monarchy. Catherine as the spark for change. The royal family has had to rethink its roles and obligations since Princess Anne retired. The monarchy, which has 11 active royals, is under more and more strain, particularly in the last several years when important members have had health problems or cut down on their public commitments. Catherine's higher position is not just a personal success, but it also helps the institution become more stable. She is now the monarchy's new linchpin, since she can take on Anne's tasks while still meeting her own. This is a job with a lot of promise and a lot of stress. The evolving connection between Catherine and Prince William is at the heart of this change. As the Prince of Wales, William has come under fire for cutting down on his public schedule. Critics say that he is more focused on environmental initiatives like the Earthshot Prize than on traditional royal duties. As Catherine rises to power, he may rely on her as a partner and share the public duties while he plans his future as king. On June 14, 2025, while trooping the color, it was clear that they were working together since they looked like they were relying on each other. People who know the royal family say that William is quite proud of how strong Catherine is, particularly during her illness, and that he sees her as his most important collaborator in modernizing the monarchy. This change puts new pressure on him to step up something royal watchers are eager to see him do. As he deals with his own health problems, King Charles is relying more and more on Catherine's public presence. Their shared struggle with sickness has brought them closer together. This was clear when they appeared on the balcony for Trooping the Color, when Charles smiled at Catherine in a way that showed he trusted her. Charles is thinking about his reign since Anne left, and sources say he is grateful that Catherine is eager to take on the job. Her ability to connect with younger generations is in line with his idea of a monarchy that changes while yet honoring the past. He is giving the Duke and Duchess of Edinburgh more work to do, but Catherine is becoming the public face of the monarchy. Catherine's new job is changing how people in the royal family get along with each other. She is an involved mother to Prince George, Princess Charlotte, and Prince Louis, and she gets ideas on how to be a good parent from Anne's practical approach. Her ability to balance her duties with her family commitments is setting a new precedent, showing that royal duty can be done while still being happy. Catherine's vision: changing royal service for the 21st century. As Catherine takes on more duties, her vision for the monarchy becomes clearer. Not only is she filling the void left by Princess Anne, but she is also reinventing what it means to be a royal to fit with her own experiences and the evolving needs of modern society. People close to the royal family say that she plans to start programs that link her interests, mental health, early childhood development, and cancer advocacy, with Anne's tradition of practical service. A suggested program aims to improve access to health care in rural areas, which fits with Anne's work in farming areas and Catherine's focus on community welfare. Royal fans are eagerly awaiting the time in July 2025 when she will disclose her first major patronage in this new role at the Royal Highland Show. Her strategy is planned and very personal. Catherine is different from other royals because she can connect with people on a human basis instead of being more distant and formal. She listens before she gives advice, which is a strategy that shows Anne's practical philosophy and Catherine's unique warmth. This change comes at a very important time for the monarchy, which is under more scrutiny in a society that questions the value of hereditary institutions. Catherine's relatability, which comes from her own struggles, makes her a role model for younger people who want to find real people with real goals and public figures. Her honest talks about health, like the one in her 2024 video revealing her cancer diagnosis, have made her a symbol of optimism throughout the globe. Royal watchers think she will utilize this platform to bring the institution into the 21st century, either by improving digital communication or supporting environmental issues, which are quite similar to King Charles's vision for the future of the monarchy. Catherine's personal life has a big effect on her leadership, along with her official duties. She is a loving mother to Prince George, Princess Charlotte, and Prince Louis, and she takes care of her duties at Kensington Palace, including getting them to and from school and telling them goodnight stories. Anne is a practical mom who can handle both of her jobs, whereas Catherine is different since she is open about her feelings. At a recent school event, she was observed calming Louis with a kind touch. This little deed said a lot about her principles. These examples show that Catherine's strength comes from her humanity, which will impact how she leads in the future. People all around the globe are watching her trip, and there are still doubts about whether she can handle the big duties of her new job. Will she combine the monarchy's many patronages and focus on a small number of important causes? Could she start a new age of royal participation by showing younger royals like Princess Beatrice the way? Also, will her leadership make the monarchy reassess its position in the 21st century? There is no doubt that Catherine is ready. Her story, which is intertwined with Anne's legacy, shows quiet courage by being there at important times and leading with both strength and empathy. Thank you for watching the video. Please let us know your thoughts and goodbye for now.